Uh, Virgo, welcome. I'm Anna. If you are here right now, if something guided you to this message at this particular moment in your day, in your week, in the unfolding of everything you have been moving through, I want you to know that this is not an accident. Nothing about this moment is accidental. And not every single word that comes through today will apply to every single person watching. So please take what speaks to your soul. Take what resonates, what lands somewhere true and real inside you, and gently release the rest. Release it back to the universe with love and let it find the person it was meant for. Because today, what is coming through for this collective love reading is urgent. And I mean that word with its full weight. Urgent, not urgent as alarm, not urgent as something to fear, urgent as something that needs to be heard right now in this moment before another day passes in the silence that I know has been pressing on so many of you. Your person is in love with you. I need you to hear that before we go anywhere else today. Before the explanation, before everything else that Spirit is bringing through, I need that to land somewhere real in you. Your person, the one you have been thinking about, the one whose silence has been sitting on your chest like a weight you cannot put down no matter how many times you tell yourself to. The one whose name surfaced in your mind the moment I said those words. That person is in love with you, has been in love with you, and the silence, the maddening, inexplicable, why haven't I heard from them silence, is not what it appears to be. Let me tell you what it actually is. What I am feeling in the energy around this collective today is a very specific kind of storm, not the kind that destroys, but the kind that reorganizes, the kind that moves through a person's interior life and rearranges everything that was not in its right place. And your person, the one who has gone quiet on you, is right in the middle of that storm right now, moving through it, navigating it, doing the kind of interior work that cannot be done while also being fully present with you. And Spirit wants you to understand something today that I think you have needed to hear for a while. The silence is not rejection. The silence is not indifference. The silence is not evidence that what you felt between you was not real, or that you imagined it, or that they have simply moved on and forgotten that you exist. The silence is preparation. Soft sigh. Your person is preparing. And what are they preparing for? For you, for the moment when they can stand in front of you or reach out to you or send that message or make that call and offer you something that is actually worthy of what you have been giving. Because here is what I keep feeling when I sit with the energy of your person today, and I want to say it in their voice because I think you need to hear it this way. I know I have been quiet. I know the silence has been hard on you, and I am sorry for that. But I have not been quiet because I stopped caring. I have been quiet because I care so much that I refuse to come back to you as the same version of myself that hurt you. I am not that person anymore. I am becoming someone who is actually worthy of what you offered me. And I am not going to reach out to you until I can offer that back. Until I can look you in the eyes or send that message and know that this time I am showing up with everything, not half of myself, not the managed, guarded, 1 foot out the door version, everything, because you deserve everything. And I know that now in a way I did not fully know it before. Uh, that is what Spirit is sharing with the collective today. That is the message living inside the silence that has been so difficult to sit with. And I know it does not make the waiting easier. I want to honor that. I truly do. The waiting is real. The longing is real. The specific, daily, accumulating difficulty of loving someone who is quiet is real, and it deserves to be acknowledged. But the love on the other side of the silence, that is real too. More real, perhaps, than anything they showed you when they were present, because what is being built in the silence is something that the noise of before did not allow to be built. A foundation, the specific, solid, actually going to hold this time kind of foundation that your connection has always had the potential for, but never quite reached because one or both of you was not yet fully ready to build it. The readiness is arriving. I feel it in the energy of today's collective with a clarity that is hard to set aside. Something in your person is completing some internal work, some healing, some reckoning with their own patterns and their own history and the specific ways they have previously shown up in love that they are no longer willing to repeat. They are looking at themselves honestly, and that the willingness to look honestly, to not look away, to sit with the uncomfortable truth of where they fell short and do something about it rather than simply avoiding it is not something that happens quickly. It is not something that can be rushed by your longing, however understandable that longing is. It moves at the pace it moves. And Spirit is asking you today to trust that pace. Not because your needs do not matter, they do, completely and absolutely, but because what is being built in the time the pace requires is worth the waiting in a way that what came before simply was not. Soft sigh. Now let me speak to the love itself, because the love is the urgent part, the part that Spirit kept pressing forward when I sat with this collective today, and it deserves to be spoken about directly without being buried inside the explanation of the silence. Your person thinks about you constantly in the way that certain people take up permanent residence in another person's mind, not as a passing thought, not as a memory that surfaces occasionally and then fades, but as a constant presence, a frequency, the specific, located, impossible to tune out frequency of someone who has found their way into the part of another person's interior life that does not respond to the usual methods of management. They cannot manage you out of their thoughts. They have tried, and I say that not as an accusation, but as an honest observation of what I feel in the energy. They have attempted, with varying degrees of commitment, to redirect, to invest their attention elsewhere, to find in other places and other moments the quality of feeling that being in your orbit produces. It has not worked. And the not working, the daily accumulating, increasingly undeniable failure of every attempt to simply move past what they feel is what has brought them to where they are now, which is not past you, which is in fact more convinced of what they feel than they were before the silence began. Hear your person speaking again today, because Spirit keeps bringing their voice through, and I want you to receive it. I thought the distance would help. I thought if I just gave myself enough space from you, from us, from everything I felt when we were close, I thought it would quiet down. I thought time would do what I could not do, make the feeling smaller, make it more manageable, make it something I could live alongside without it being the loudest thing in my life. But it did not get smaller. It got bigger, more specific, more certain. And I have arrived at a place I did not expect to arrive at, the understanding that I do not want it to be smaller. That what I feel for you is not a problem to be solved, but a truth to be honored. And I am finally ready to honor it. That is what is moving in the energy today. Those of you who have been waiting and wondering and trying to make sense of a silence that seemed to have no explanation. The explanation is love, love that got bigger instead of smaller. Love that persisted through the distance rather than dissolving in it. Love that is now in the specific and almost electric quality of what I feel in this collective's energy, approaching its expression. Something is building toward movement. I want to be honest, I cannot give you a specific day or a specific moment or a guaranteed timeline because that is not mine to give, and Spirit does not operate in those terms. But what I can tell you is the quality of what I feel, and the quality is close, closer than it has been, closer than the silence has given you any reason to believe. The internal work that your person has been doing is reaching a point of completion that I can feel in the energy, a ripening, a readiness, the specific quality of something that has been held back finally approaching the moment of its release. Soft sigh. And when that release comes, when the silence finally, completely, no longer sustainably breaks and your person reaches through it toward you, I want you to be ready. Not with your defenses, not with the carefully constructed armor of someone who has been waiting long enough that waiting has started to feel like the permanent condition. Ready in the genuine sense. Grounded, present, in full possession of yourself, your worth, your clarity about what you need, your honest assessment of what you feel, so that when the moment arrives, you are meeting it from your full height rather than from the contracted, self protective crouch of someone who has been braced for disappointment. You are allowed to still want this. That is something Spirit is bringing through very clearly today, and I do not want it to get lost in everything else. You are allowed to still feel what you feel. You are allowed to still care about this person, still hope for this connection, still hold space for the possibility of something genuinely beautiful unfolding between you without that wanting making you naive or weak or insufficiently protective of yourself. Wanting something real is not weakness. It is one of the most human things available. And what you want, the specific, full, reciprocal, actually shows up for you version of love from this person is not too much to want. It is exactly what is being prepared on the other side of the silence. Let me also speak to those of you who have been doubting yourselves, who have been using the silence as evidence against your own perception, who have been asking whether you imagined what you felt, whether you misread the connection, whether the whole thing was somehow your projection onto a situation that was never as mutual as it seemed. You did not imagine it. You did not misread it. What you felt was real has always been real, and the silence has never been evidence against that. It has only ever been evidence of where your person was within themselves, their interior state, their own readiness, their own process, none of which is a reflection of the validity of what exists between you. The connection is valid. Spirit confirms it today with everything that is coming through. The feeling was mutual, is mutual, has been mutual through the entire duration of the silence, which is precisely why the silence has been so difficult on both sides. Because this is not a one directional current. It never was. Your person is in love with you, and they are coming, not in the reckless, impulsive, same patterns repeating way of someone who has not yet done the work in the deliberate, grounded, I have looked at myself honestly and I like what I am building way of someone who has spent the time the silence provided doing something with it, something that matters, something that will make the version of them that reaches out to you different, genuinely, structurally, in the ways that count from the version that went quiet. Different in how they show up, different in how they communicate, different in their willingness to be fully present rather than 1 foot out the door present, different in their capacity to receive what you offer rather than deflecting it out of fear or out of the unexamined patterns that fear produced. Different in the specific and essential way of someone who has finally, through the difficult and private work of honest self examination, become someone capable of the love that you have always deserved from them. Soft sigh. Hear them one more time because Spirit is insistent that this voice reaches you today. I know I hurt you with the silence. I know the waiting has been unfair. I know that every day I did not reach out was another day I asked you to carry something you should not have had to carry alone. And I am sorry for that, genuinely, completely in a way that goes past the surface sorry into the actual reckoning with the cost of what I chose. But I need you to know something. The silence was never about you. It was never because I stopped feeling. It was always because I felt too much and did not yet know what to do with it. And now I do. Now I am ready. And when I reach out, and I will reach out, I am going to show you, not just tell you what the silence was building toward. I am going to show you every single day that you were worth every moment of the work I did to become someone capable of you. That is the message Spirit brings through for this collective love reading today. For those of you it resonated with, for those of you who felt something shift or settle or exhale while those words were being spoken, trust that resonance. It is your own knowing, confirming what the energy of this reading is reflecting. Your person is in love with you. The silence has a reason, and the reason is not what you feared. And what is being built on the other side of it, slowly, honestly, with the full and genuine intention of someone who has finally decided to stop holding back, is something worth the wait. Worth every difficult, wondering, why haven't I heard from them day of it? Hold on a little longer, not because you have to, you never have to do anything that does not serve your own well being and your own truth. But because what is coming may be everything you have been holding space for, and it may be arriving sooner than the silence has given you any reason to expect. Trust the love, trust the connection, and most of all, trust yourself. The part of you that knew, that has always known, that felt the reality of what exists between you, even through the silence, and refused, despite everything, to entirely let go of it. That part of you was right. It has always been right. If this reading found you at the exact moment it was meant to, if something here gave language to what you have been carrying in the silence and confirmed what you had almost stopped allowing yourself to believe, please like, comment, and stay close. Subscribe so you never miss what Spirit brings through next. Because the story that is unfolding for you in this love is one worth following all the way through. And the next message may arrive at exactly the moment you need it most. Blessings to every single one of you watching today. You are so deeply loved.